All right, hi guys. We are here with Rob Winfield, owner, one of the owners of Terra Manor, and he runs Star City Paranormal up in Roanoke, Virginia. Rob,
Hello.
if you want to go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and Terra Manor and SCP.
Well, my name, like I said, is Rob Winfield. Been doing haunted houses for many years. Started Terra Manor now we just came out of our second season, COVID season, so it was pretty cool. Killed it, which was awesome. Also, I've been doing the paranormal thing for about 5 years now. Been lucky enough to get into that, and been blessed enough to be able to get some crazy equipment, of course.
Hmm.
Um, I just love the spookiness, so I guess that's what I'm doing both.
So what got you interested in the paranormal? You said you have a love of spookiness. Where does that come from?
So I've always worked at various haunted houses and whatnot, and I actually went to a haunted house that's not around anymore, and they had a booth going, and was selling a chance. You buy a raffle ticket for your chance to win a ghost hunt. And I was skeptic, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I was scared too, and I had money left over from buying my ticket at the haunted attraction I was at. So I literally went to the guy and said, "Hey," I said, "here's my blah blah, whatever it was." I said, "I'll take, I think I got like 2 tickets." Um, and I said, "That ticket right there, is going to be the winner one," because it was a raffle. And I said, "So I'll see you in December when you draw your tickets." Sure enough, they drew, and it was that ticket, free.
Wow.
Um, Chad knows about that because he was kind of like, "What?" I'm like, "Yep." So, but it got me into doing the Star City because I won the trip with Star City. Sonia and Jason Maxey had started Star City Paranormal, and it wasn't where it is today. Not in the COVID world where it is today. In the COVID world, we're not nothing really much no more other than talking. We're kind of kind of hard to go to places really. But they got me into it and I fell in love with it. And I guess the reason I fell in love with it was because I didn't believe it. Chad's been with me, fortunately, unfortunately, a lot. I'll go to a location, and I'll usually go off into the dark completely by myself with nothing because I feel like, if you do that, your senses, are more heightened to the environment. So I would do that. When in doing that, I realized that I was scaring my own teammates.
Yeah. Yeah, whenever we made the glow in the dark shirts, I sent him a picture. Said, "This is what we should have got you when you were walking around in the dark with a glow in the dark shirt."
We had the bracelets made, and you guys there for the longest time were making me wear bracelets because they would glow in the dark, and you just see this glow coming by, and it would be Rob. But that's what got me started into it, and they kind of wanted it to get heightened up, so they basically turned Star City over to me, and that the rest is history. And then like I said, I got back into the haunted house thing and started a charity event for some kids and was volunteering at that haunt. Opportunity came to buy that out, so I did, and now running a full bore like commercial ADA haunted attraction in the state of Virginia. It's pretty cool because there's only 2 other haunted ADA attractions in the state of Virginia, and that is actually King's Dominion and Busch Gardens, and I am not an amusement park. So little little different, but it is. We do have a very large haunt. This actually where I'm at right now is actually in the inside queue line, and this room behind me is a Star City room, kind of like a haunted objects room. So it's kind of cool, and I've got some of the Star City equipment here, so when people are passing by here, they can see equipment. They can see some of the haunted objects. There's a TV up here that you can't see, and it plays a PowerPoint and it tells you the story of all the different objects in the room and where they come from and all that. Pretty cool stuff. But no, I love it. And hopefully I'll get the chance to come down to Florida at some point because I know Chad keeps telling me I need to.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Bring Margaret and Kenny down here too.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm coming down for sure in September because I was coming down for Halloween Horror Nights because I love it down there for that. And unfortunately, it was canceled due to COVID, but I'm rebooked already for this year, so we'll see.
So speaking of investigating, what are some of the more notable locations that you've investigated?
That's a great question. So, my favorite place that I ever went, and truly probably the only place that ever scared me, and I played it off very well. I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's the one in Pennsylvania, Chad. Help me out.
In
The one,
Pennsylvania?
huh?
In Pennsylvania? Not Penhurst, is it?
Yes.
Okay, Penhurst.
So everybody knows about Penhurst. They have all the compound up there, and this is before I'm assuming whoever owns it now and how they're running. They had all these underground tunnels up there. Well, when we booked the place, we booked it for the weekend, and we went up there, and they said, "All right, and I wanted to go to the Quaker building so bad, and all that good stuff." And we're walking around. They're like, "Well, you can only do this building," and we're like, "Come on!" And lo and behold, we talked to them and we kind of got a key and they kind of, let us in some of the other places. Well, we go in there and we're walking and we smell paint. So we turned around and left because they were like, "Oh God, somebody's in the building," because there's underground tunnels up there and people break in all the time. So we left, and when we come out, we kind of dispersed and was going, because it's a huge compound up there, right? And everybody's going in separate directions. And there was about 7 of us, I believe, it took the trip. And I can't remember the name of the building that this happened to me, but one of the guys that was running it and was the guide up with us for security said, "Yeah, that building is insanely active. It's not as active as the Quaker building, but it's right under it." And I was like, "No way," because I'm a huge skeptic. So I go up and I go, wham, wham, and I wail on this metal door to this old, abandoned, dilapidated hospital. And, I wailed on it. And then I stuck my ear literally like to the metal door, and I hear like right on the other side. So either A, it was haunted, or B, somebody had broken that building and they were messing with me and they got me, or it was the Oogie Boogie or something. I don't know. But that one made my heart go, whoa. And then I, of course, immediately went to everybody and was telling them, and then was like, "You got to check it out." And at the same time, they're like, "No, Rob's messing with me," because Chad likes tea when he goes But no, I mean that was probably one of my favorite places that I've been, just because of it was really cool. And another building I got to go in because we had a special key. It was like a time capsule. There was like literally nurses' gowns still in there. I mean, it was really, really cool. So I love that because that's kind of also I like about it, because like even in school I was like a history nerd. So I like to go to places and see things, and I'm pretty sure probably anybody, if you ask them, about ghost hunting, if they're really serious about it, they're gonna say, I like the history, I like the antiques that you see and stuff, and I mean it's all around. I mean it's good times.
So you said that experience, that was something that really frightened you. Have you ever been on another investigation or had another experience where something really frightened you?
I'll pick on St. Albans on that one. And up in Radford, Virginia. It is notated to be one of the most active haunted places on the East Coast. Chad's been there numerous times.
Love that place.
With us, so he can contest. And we would go there sometimes, and it's just like any place. You go somewhere and there's no activity, and then all of a sudden you go back the next time and it's just crazy fireworks going on. But we were upstairs in what they refer to as a suicide bathroom. And it was myself and another teammate, and we had, SBS 11 going, and we all know the colors that are on those, right? And it started changing colors, like colors that's not on it, which was weird. And it kept saying its name was It. And Chad again can contest to that. Every time we went up to that place, it was always like, we were like, "Who are you?" And they'd be like, "It." Oh no, not it, me. It was me. Sorry, I'm thinking of a different place. It would refer to it as me.
Wow.
So I would say that's probably number 2. That's another crazy place that we've went. I like anytime the team would go, I would stay and we would go, all these crazy places. Brushy Mountain was another great one before they got shut down in West Virginia. I think it's West Virginia, Kentucky,
Something like that.
You pass like 3 states to get to it. It's crazy. You're everywhere. That one is really cool, but as far as a standout, it's definitely the Pennhurst and the Meade, St. Albans, and all that. Because with the St. Albans on the one up there, when the spirit box was going crazy and saying Meade, we literally heard. We're like, "Is anybody there?" And we literally heard a voice, like a faint voice in the background. So that was pretty creepy. But anybody knows. I hate to keep saying you can ask Chad because it's like, but he knows some of the antics I do. But
yeah.
You got to keep it going because you go to these places, you're cold most of the time, and I like going when it's cold versus hot because you don't have to worry about the snakes and spiders and all that stuff. Guy owns haunted house, but he hates spiders. I don't know. But I mean, it's I don't know. It's just weird. Some of these places, that we've been, we rented out the USS North Carolina battleship, stayed for a night. That one was more of a history tour than anything. We literally had the boat. We went everywhere. So
this one.
Zero activity.
Oh,
Zero. I don't think anybody got anything. But it's cool. In the history side of it, all the things. So, we've been lucky enough to go from mile to wild, from, boats. They've done battlefields and stuff. I don't do battlefields. It's not like it's against my beliefs or anything. It's just, I just don't do battlefields and I don't do graveyards and I don't have anything against it. I just don't do it.
We didn't get anything on that battlefield anyway.
Yeah.
We scared ourselves and we scared each other.
Oh, that's right. That's when y'all went up with the light in the woods.
Yeah. When we saw, we thought we saw the torches or whatever back there. It was a candlelit. But like I tell everybody else, you have to have fun with what you do.
Yeah.
Like when we helped out with St. Albans, me and Chris spent the whole night just scaring the people that were with us.
Yeah. Totally.
So I'll jump to the differences between Florida and Virginia investigating. You guys have a lot more history up there, like St. Albans, or you can go up to like Boone's Mill or like Shawnee, all within driving distance. For me, the oldest place I have is St. Augustine.
Okay.
And most of that's all commercialized now. And that kind of dives into my next talking point, which was the cost of investigating and equipment, which a lot of people don't realize when they're watching these shows, is it costs money to get into these places.
Good Lord, yeah.
It's like, that's one of your questions whenever somebody wants to join is, are you financially able to go to these places? Because some of them charge $1,500 for a night to investigate.
Wow.
Yep. I think that the most expensive place that I ever came across as far as investigating was Trans-Allegheny. That one is, it's a beautiful location and they've put a lot of money into the reconstruction of that building, but it's very expensive. I mean, you're talking thousands of dollars to get, for, a couple hours in there.
Wow.
And you don't even get the whole place. You get access to certain buildings. So that's one definitely if you want to check out, unless you're wanting to blow a lot of money, you might want to go to a public. Even though I'm totally against public, you got to do what you got to do if you want to get your foot in the door, I guess. But that's probably one of the most expensive places I think that I remember.
Yeah, one of the more cost-effective ones we did was that Lake Shawnee one, and that one was only like $75 a night. We didn't get a whole lot, but that's more of a history tour.
Yeah, there's another location that is close to that. And again, I forgot the name of it, but they just started doing like bookings. And far as size, about what it is, trying to compare, it's probably about the size of like Brushy Mountain Penitentiary.
Yeah, I think Mark Muncy, when we had him on, the author of Very Florida, because he's writing Haunted Appalachia, he mentioned that too, and I forgot the name of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's an old place, but it's pretty cool, definitely.
And a lot of people, when they're thinking equipment, they don't realize an SB11 is going to run you like $130, and that's
Correct.
one of the more cost-effective pieces too.
Correct.
Like
and
you have
it's
a portal that thing costs money.
Yeah, they're not. But I will say, if you ask me the question, what is the as far as a two-sided question of that, like what is my favorite piece of equipment is definitely the portal. If you can get your hands on one, do it. You got to play with it when you get it to be able to finagle it. You can speak to that because you put your hands on it.
And the reverb, when you turn that up, it doesn't make only spirit voices come through. All that is an echo.
Correct. That one is definitely my go-to piece. If I'm going to use anything, it'll be that. Just because, think of it. If you can use SBS 11, which everybody does, and you have the option to take that, why would you not do it?
Yeah.
So that is definitely probably my go-to piece. My least favorite would probably be the 7, or I'm not big into setting still long. I dislike laser grids and all that. I mean, and like something you'd set up with a Boo Bear or whatnot. But I think I don't want to say stupid, but I'll say stupid. The thing I think that we ever came across, I don't know if you can see it in this background. Yeah, actually right here. It's pretty cool. It's a cool piece of equipment to have, to be like, oh wow, but it is totally like 1980s Ghostbuster. The whole yes, no, like, and it'll work. Like you can have it hovering like that. And you can like hover your hand over it and not touch it, and it'll come up and say yes, no. Have had zero luck with that dang on thing, and I have used it until I finally gave up on it.
You do have that signed by Tennessee Race Chasers, though, don't you?
Yes, I do. Yep. So that's kind of cool too. Recorders. Everybody uses recorders. My favorite is the Zoom. I think that's what it is. Is it Zoom or Voom or?
I think it's the Zoom. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you can the real time playback. Love that. I'm not a big fan of FLIRs. Just not. I did buy some of these bad boys.
Like, what is it? The KSLR or something?
4K. So I've got a 4K one now and just a regular 1080. The 4K one's cool. So anybody out there buying equipment, my personal opinion, don't waste your money on. So if you buy one, they got the Xbox Connects on them, right? Don't buy the one with the 360. You buy the one that has the Xbox One Connect on it. It is so much better. Food for thought. Just saying.
Have you ever used that the digital spirit box that you bought? Have you got any good results with that yet?
Yes, I have used it all of 2 times. So, like you said, people have no idea about equipment and how expensive it is, and that is true. It is very expensive. But the problem is a lot of the, we've been fortunate enough to keep it positive in Virginia. But I do know that there's like I don't know, like mine's better than yours, that kind of thing. And I know that's out there, and that's out there in anything. Everybody wants to be competitive, and that's awesome. But my whole thing was, and this is you can't try it out and say it's crap or it's good without
trying it.
So we would just buy it to try it out and be like, yep, it's junk, throw it away. Whoops, let's throw it away. So yeah. I'm trying to think. Boo Bears is another one. I don't like Boo Bears. I don't know. Maybe some people do. I don't like Boo Bears. But they're great for a laser grid or something.
Yeah. I mean, for Boo Bear wise, we had somebody donated us. It's a sensor that when something comes next to it, it plays like old McDonald's. So you can put it in whatever you want to put it in, like an animal or whatever.
Oh, that's cool.
Interchange it with whatever trigger object you're trying to put out there.
That's cool.
It's much less expensive than Boo Bear.
That little the rook. I'm trying to think who makes that. Is that the ghost stop? The rook.
I want to say yes.
I think you had one or had one.
Oh no, that was Doss. Doss had the rook. That was from that was from Ghost Stop.
Those are pretty cool. They actually do a multiple, more than like a regular multimeter or something.
Mm. And then I think you kind of answered Jackie's question on that one. Your favorite piece of equipment.
Yeah, he absolutely did answer that. But that brings me. You're pointing to your equipment that's in that room that had, or that area with those haunted artifacts. I want to know more about those haunted artifacts. What's in there? Where did they come from? I want to know more about that.
I'll have to turn for this. I'm sorry. So we've got a couple of clown dolls. Some of them were rescue mission things that people had apparently picked up, and weird things happened. The coolest, one of the coolest things I've got in there, you can't see it, but I have a autopsy table.
Oh.
If you're standing up, you can see it. It's on the floor. It was it's really old. It was donated from a local, very large funeral home. They contacted me and were like, oh, we have two things that you may be interested in. One is we don't have really a story on it, but it's kind of creepy. Another one is the autopsy, the table or whatnot. The other item that I didn't speak of just now was the skull. If you see right here, that's real. But I didn't have a place to put it because it is very old, so we just put it in there. There is some cool pictures that apparently people have whispers coming from, like, there's a picture that's a old schoolyard that's up there. It's right beside that pink doll that's up there, or the red doll that's up there. It's like whistling, like, and that's been a joke here at this building as people are working.
Hey, Mom.
I hear the whisper is hot. So I can't explain it.
Oh.
Very cool.
So I wanted to touch on the struggles of running the group. For you. Hi, Logan.
Oh. Logan, it's Chad. Say hi, Chad.
Hi, Chad.
All right, now go talk to Matt.
Talk to Matt.
Go talk to Matt, please.
Hi.
Yeah, go talk to Matt.
M&M's.
I need you to go talk to Matt.
Hi. Matt.
All right.
So I did want to touch on the struggles of running a paranormal group, because me and you both know the struggles of running one. You especially, while you also run a paranormal group, you also run a haunt.
Yeah. It is hard. And what you were speaking to earlier when you were talking about equipment, and that is one of my questions when I ask people and they say they want to join, is, are you financially stable? Are you willing to travel and all that? Just for the fact, like we were talking, that the prices to book these locations, the equipment that, I don't require people to buy equipment, because, let's try you out and see what happens. If you want to buy something, then we can buy it down the road. Keeping everybody, you get a core group, and then you meet these new people, and just trying to make sure they mesh well, and keeping them engaged, just like anything in the real world. If you don't do anything, you're gonna, with each other, you're gonna get distant, and we all know how that goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's, no matter what you do in the paranormal, if you're in a group, there's going to be some kind of drama.
Sure.
Correct.
And then if you want to touch on the next one there, Jackie.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that you've got these internal conflicts or possibility of conflicts, but then, we meet a lot of interesting people when we're out there investigating.
Correct.
And I'm gently saying interesting.
Yeah.
So
Put it nicely.
We went back and forth to figuring out a word to use instead of a negative word.
Yeah.
So how do you circumvent? How do you sort out these folks? How do you decide who you're going to work with and who you're going to, as far as clients, who you're going to take on versus those very interesting folks?
Well, it's kind of double-sided on that. It's kind of like, go asking those questions, why do you want to join and so on is kind of the same way because everybody, if you've got a paranormal team out there and you've been established for any amount of time, you're going to get the general public finding out, hitting you up and questioning you and saying, hey, my house is haunted just because, they want a show and they want you to come there. Everybody laughs at me, but the first question I always ask is, are you on any kind of medication? Or do you have an addiction problem or anything from the past? Or, those are very personal questions and can be controversial in asking someone, and you may offend them, but when you're going into their house and you're putting your team there and you're putting all the money that you brought in equipment at risk in these homes, you definitely want to have as much info as you can, just for the fact of the safety of it, because this person's saying that they get all hyped up and you don't ask these questions and you go to their house going, oh my God, guys, it's a super haunted house and they're having stuff fly across the room and all this. Needless to say, when you get there, you're at a meth lab. Or on the other side of the double-sided of it is you got this person that's wanting to be on your team that they claim that they're the famous empath and they just hear all these things. I tested out. Chad can tell you this. Yeah. I've had people claim they were an empath, so I would make up a malarkey story and then see what happens. See if that malarkey story that I made up is what they're going to tell me. Yes, I talked to them and they, and you know how the rest would end on that. But it's you're going to meet a lot of interesting people, some good, some bad, but not talking bad about the empaths out there, but I have yet to come in contact with one that I was like, oh wow, what? So, if you're out there, I'm ready for you. Please show me the way.
This is the way.
Yeah,
this is the way.
So next thing I wanted to touch on is you probably haven't done it with COVID being prevalent. The paranormal classes that we used to do.
Correct.
Want to talk about a little bit about your process with that and how you came to putting that together.
Oh, that's a good question. So how that came to be is Star City was asked by St. Albans if they would help, because St. Albans is run by volunteers. Great group of people up there, great facility, owners just great. I mean, it's just positive all around. The time that they go to spend in that building, to restore that building, such a massive building, I mean, it is awesome. But and it's run strictly by volunteers and their time. And what they would do is, like we were talking about, how expensive things are, and places aren't cheap. St. Albans is very affordable, I will say, for what you're getting and the activity that you get there. And I'm not a paid spokesperson for St. Albans, but they're volunteers, and these are volunteers, and they do haunted houses there and all these other kind of special activities, so they're volunteers, and some of them are paranormal, have their own paranormal groups. Some don't. Some of them just have a millimeter or something like that, voice recorder, that kind of thing, which is great. Well, Marcel, the sweet lady up there that runs it, she was like, Rob, would y'all ever be interested in, doing a class? And I was like, sure. And then she was, what's the cost? And I said, absolutely nothing, free. We're doing this. So what we would do is I would take and put out a table with all the equipment. And I would get up there and do a PowerPoint because, and I'm not saying like a boring lecture or anything like that, like just quick, like showing the different, like what an orb is and showing what the equipment is and what it does and how it works and all that good stuff. And then we would divide into certain groups, and I would put Star City in certain spectrums of this building. and then you would do a group rotation, so you got to investigate the whole place, because it's a public investigation that we're talking about in these classes. So it was really cool, and I'm sure, we're not the first to come up with that idea, but I really think if a lot of these local, your local, active places would reach out to like these paranormal groups like we were blessed to do, it would help out both ways, as far as exposure, getting your own name, your group name out, and you're giving back to that facility. And who knows, you may get in the good graces of it, and then you get to go back and investigate for free, because you're helping make them money. So it's a win-win for everybody. So Star City, we invested a little bit extra money because no normal team's going to go out and buy like 5 SBS 11s. But we did that way it would be, everybody has the chance in the different parts of the building. So we continued on to that, and we did the PowerPoint, we built it. Like I said, a quick presentation showing what the equipment done, the different colors of orbs, and divide up. So in a nutshell, that's kind of how we started it. Now, since COVID hit on the other side of your question, we had to stop, obviously, under Virginia great laws. But we're getting better here in Virginia with COVID. That we are actually going down, so that's good news. I hope everybody else will as well. But I am planning actually, right, probably mid-spring, early spring, I'm going to bring back these classes, but I'm going to bring them back here, just to kind of test the water, because we've had so many people that have asked about the building. And, when you're building a haunt, like everybody's been to a haunted house. And, a lot of these haunted houses, some people go to like the Ripley's, and I'm not knocking them or any of that. Okay. But there's really, it's pretty cut and dry. There's no really crazy set design in it and all that. Well, we're blessed here is everything's real. All of our sets, we feature over 48 rooms. And all of our rooms are very well detailed. You could go through in the broad daylight with a light and go, is that real? So in doing that, we've acquired these objects, as you see behind me, hence why some of these are in here, from different places, and they are out there. So just like everybody claims and says that when a spirit or demon or whatever passes on, it can attach itself to a remote or whatever, a picture frame, a doll, whatever. They're out there. So we've had some creepy stuff go on out there. I've also had people that's acted for me that claimed that they were a junior empath. I think they watched some Travel Channel and they thought they could talk to ghosts. The craziest one I think I had from one of the actors was they were up in the rafters grabbing people's head, and they had a voice come in their head go, "Don't grab them, don't grab them." So who knows?
I mean, I've had stuff happen there when I was in there with it.
Okay, there you go. Nothing wants to mess with me, Chad. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I mean, one day I'll get touched.
I remember walking down the little employee hallway we had there, and it was in the morning after hours, and then one of the speakers kicks on, and it's you whistling over here. And I was like, is Rob here? His car's not out front. Come to find out, one of the speakers just kicked on.
Yeah. Yep. We'll still never replace the T. We'll still never replace Chad's T.
I've heard this story from Chad, but I want to hear it from you, Rob. Tell me about Chad's tea.
Well,
ridiculous.
Like any ghost team out there, you got to do this once, guys. You got to at least go do a lock-in somewhere. I don't care if it's Billy Bob's TP or the most extreme haunted place in the world. You got to do it at least once. Is do a lock-in. So we were at St. Albans doing a lock-in, and everybody, it was the first night, so everybody's like, yeah, woo, and everybody's divided up, and Rob was being Rob, and I went on my own little journey. The rest of the whole team was upstairs in
I think it was me and Bruce leading some of the people that came there that paid to come there with us.
Yeah. Yes, you're right. And y'all are up in
By the bird cage.
Yes, you were in the bird cage. So I come up the steps, no flashlight, because that's how I roll, and just glow bracelet in hand. And I hear them like going blah 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 blah. Is there anybody in here? Is there and all that? I'm like, well, I don't want to bust their investigation. So what can I do? So I'm walking down this hallway and I see like this china tea set that's like really nice china. It's like real ceramic and everything, and it's just sitting in the floor. And they're down this long hallway, so I get this little child's tea set and I set it in a straight line in this hallway that's like a 36-inch wide hallway. And then I just go hide and I wait. And I hear them like coming down the hallway, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna be good. And I hid behind this one door, so I'm watching them. And they come down, they're like, somebody moved the tea set. And then they start. You could hear like the fear coming in some of them's like voice. They're like, well, it wasn't there before. I didn't move it, and I'm just hiding there. And I finally was found, and
he let us believe that it was a paranormal occurrence for months.
Oh yeah, because I remember when it first happened, and you first told me about it.
Yeah. For months.
We know the ghosts like tea, and we know ghost is going to put something in a perfect straight line, right?
Of course. Well, I particularly loved it because Chad loves to heckle me. I'm pretty sure it's one of his hobbies. So it's nice to know somebody got Chad.
Yes. It would have been better if the tea set had been there, and they would have been like, "Oh, they put out tea. Maybe they want an offering," and got them to pour in. That would have been hilarious. But yeah.
Fantastic.
So another thing I want to touch on too is going to a location after like a significant event, like say going to St. Albans after they've done their haunt. Mm-hmm. Now we know that kicks up activity. Have you had any other experiences with going somewhere after an event like that?
That one, knowing what I know, that's probably going to be the only one. The one, Old South, I was told that there was a huge event going on there when we had went up there the last time when we went up there. As a matter of fact, they had just opened up some extra rooms down below. And it was crazy the first night there. Second night, I felt like I was in my basement at home that isn't haunted at all. So I've had little, experience on that. So I don't want to say yay, nay on that one really.
I remember getting back into St. Albans after, right after the haunt, and it was nuts that day.
Yep.
Jackie, you want to go into the next one?
So for people that are interested in setting forth joining a team or getting out there and investigating, what words of wisdom do you have for noobs?
Watch your TV shows that are on TV, but don't watch the TV shows that are on TV. And what I mean by that is the only reason, not bashing anything, the only reason I watch them, and I would encourage others, is to learn about new places to go. That's how you find out about a lot of these places, unless you've got, a big time librarian historian on your group and you're blessed like that. It's the best way to get it. But at the same time, keep in mind also, again, what Chad was speaking to, it's not cheap, but all ghost hunting is not like the TV shows. It's not like this all the time, like, oh my God. There's a lot of downtime, and downtime, you got to stay productive of it and don't let it kill your spirits. I never let it kill my spirits. You got to, keep everybody engaged and growing. I mean, that's all we can do,
Yeah, we talk about the TV shows a lot, or at least I do. You got to know they're just entertainment.
Well, my 7-year-old now I just picked up on this today, actually. I actually the schools in Virginia, his school, his county that he goes to in Virginia, the school was closed today because the teachers were getting their COVID vaccines. And so I took him to work, and he's sitting in my office, and he's sitting at my far desk, and he's got his tablet, and I hear him watching, and I'm like, I know that voice. And it was Katrina and Jack Osborne, and I never watched that show, but I know of that. I don't even know what it's called. And he's like got his tablet. He's sitting there just watching this thing, and I'm like sitting there cracking up because I'm like, this kid is 7 years old, and he will not set foot in my haunted house. But he's getting into ghost stuff. Like he actually is learning about equipment, not by me, by anything that I've talked about or said, because Rob's whole rule is he doesn't. I want to say because I don't believe, but I believe. I know it makes no sense, but I don't investigate my home. I don't think you should ever investigate your home. Some people do, some people don't, but I don't. And I'm a firm believer that you don't investigate your home. So my equipment never goes home. Once I was blessed with this building, we built this. And I'm keeping it there, not taking it home. But he has learned all of this just by watching a TV show at 7 years old. So that's pretty cool. And I'm sure there's millions of kids out there. Like, I mean, that's awesome. And that was pretty cool today.
Yeah, I started watching that show. It started off okay.
Really?
Yeah, and then it kind of went where all the other ones go.
Now I did like when her and the Nick Groff would do that lock in. I was a fan of that. I was a fan of that they had some really cool locations, great shot value. It was a good show. That was probably one of my favorite shows. The Wraith Chasers, back when they used to have the Tennessee Wraith Chasers show thing going on. Those guys were really good. And as far as meeting some of these people, I've never met. The only, I guess, celebrity ghost hunters I've ever met would be the Wraith Chasers. I've actually investigated with them. Chad has.
Yeah, they were cool guys.
Yeah. The Doogie guy, by far, coolest dude I've ever met. Not saying that the other guys were poo or anything like that, but he was totally the Rob on the team, because I was with him and he started. He was asking questions and somebody, it was because we were again helping with the Wraith Chasers was teaching a class at St. Albans, and I was asked to come up and bring some equipment and help the Wraith Chasers out. So, I mean, why would you say no to a TV crew people to come up when you get the opportunity? You're literally asked to come up. So I'm like, hell yeah, I'm coming up. And we're sitting in this room and we're investigating, and the Doogie guy totally did a Rob move. Somebody asked one of these people, it was for the public, is anybody in here? And that spirit box is just going, and then Doogie goes, yes, I'm over here. And I'm like, yes, yes. Like, so he won my heart on that one. Guy don't know me from Adam, probably, but I know him and he's a cool dude. But again, all the other dudes were cool as hell. They were very engaging with the team. So yeah, they were a good group of guys, or are.
Well, that about does it for our questions. I do want to thank you for coming on, taking the time to talk to us.
Not a problem. Come see me when you want to talk about a haunted house. I'll go. We'll do some stuff out there.
I'll talk to you some more about what we were talking about before we started recording.
All right.
Great to meet you.
You too, ma'am.
All right. Have a nice night, guys.
You too.
Good night.